Welcome to Factorio Krastorissimo. My name is Nila, so this is the weekly recap, the second weekly recap of our series running over on Twitch. And this series is called Krastorissimo because it's a combination of Krastorio mod, the full overhaul mod pack, and the Factorissimo mod, the one that creates these beautiful, amazing warehouse buildings. And in the first episode of this series, I kind of explained more on details about the mechanics and how this operates, but basically just to summarize, the way it works is that I'm streaming this over on Twitch. It's Tuesday, Thursdays and Sundays at 8 PM Central European time, and you're very welcome to drop by. It's at twitch.tv/Nilaus. Did I say that? I don't know. No, I said it twice. I'm going to say it one more time at the end, so hopefully you'll drop by if you have the opportunity. Now, the way it works is that there are hype trains sometimes, if I'm lucky, that where people donate, and this is kind of a way to reward the people who are very generous and support, and by just giving them a building inside the game, and that's what we have here. So we have buildings created based on the hype trains that have happened during the first stream, and then we'll go forward. So this is at the end of the first stream where we have, and I'll just summarize. Basically, what we have is these buildings. We have a tiny bit of copper coming in, a tiny bit of iron coming in into these two facilities here. We have a second very little facility that makes, where are we actually? Oh, there we are. Second little facility that makes just the basic iron stuff like automation cores, iron beams, iron gears, and iron sticks. Those are just easy for us to pick up, which means we can continue to build and expand our base. This location is basically our science building where we take iron and copper in, and then we can also just hand feed it with some wood, because we don't have that yet, and then make a bit of science. Now, in the first week of this playthrough, after the first episode, then I have played it 4 times. That means in this summaries episode, I have to summarize 4 episodes worth. That means 16 hours of stream time into, let's say, about 16 minutes of recap time. So that's gonna have to be somehow a factor 60 of efficiency. And well, let's see how that works out. It's going to be a bit tricky, but let's jump forward to how it looks at the end of the second stream of the series to see what that's going to be the first stream of the week we're summarizing. Now at this point you can see that the base has certainly grown. A number of new facilities have dropped down, and they've also just worked just clustered quite heavily around here, and there was actually a reason for it. The heavy clustering, nothing really comes out here. This is the way that it's done the implementation of how it spawned, and that basically is picking a random radar, and radar includes these small sentinels. And because there are more small sentinels here, but only 3 of the bigger radars, 1, 2, and 3, that means they are very much more likely to be clustered in here. So when we found out about that, we changed it. But that basically means that this has become a little city with a downtown area, and out here we have sort of the suburbs spreading out. And it's a very interesting analogy and something we're going to be working on moving forward. We still have our clusters of ores in the middle, and we can see that generally we're starting to get more of a spaghetti mess with things looping around. Let's go into the detail of some of the buildings. What we have around here was this one, and this one isn't doing anything either. All the way up here we have a fuel location. Unfortunately at this point we can't preview it yet. We don't have that research, but when we can preview it I can just hold my mouse over and we can see it. Let's go up here just to see. That's actually not a great place to start on the summary. Let's go another place. Okay, go down, 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 down. So we started with having the copper and iron and the small extra stuff facility, and also the science facility. The next thing we built was down here. Oh, if only we had a car, that everything would be so much better, and some sacred path as well. So this one, the timber facility here, has been allocated as a location for making wood. In the beginning in Krastorio, you're going to need a lot of wood, so don't rely on cutting it down yourself, but rely on actually getting it through greenhouses. This is what we have here, taking water in and just waiting an awful lot of time, and then we get wood coming out. Wood is being used for the green circuits, and it's being used for coke. Those are the 2 main things I think right now that will use a lot of wood, and those need to be going here. So what we have is a full yellow belt, of wood coming out of the greenhouse facility, going all the way over here, going in here and being combined with good coal into this location to make coke. Coke is an excellent product. You can see the coke here, it takes 6 wood plus 6 coal and makes 6 coke. So that means 1 wood, which is 2 megajoule, and 1 coal, that's 4 megajoules. So I put 6 megajoules in, and that gives 1 coke, and that's 10 megajoules. So we get a lot of additional burn value out of this by doing this process. Plus, additionally, if we get iron in here, then we can combine it in this ratio, 10 iron plates plus 2 coke, plus of course something to burn it. Then we will get steel. So what we're doing this, we're combining this little facility as both of a coke facility, but also as a steel facility. And there we have now a little box of steel that we can then use for future endeavors. A little box of steel, that's actually way too much. The coke is coming out and being used for 2 things. Let's start by going up here, because this is the most important thing. The coke goes in and feeds the furnaces everywhere, because I really don't want to use the coal. The coal I have here is a small facility, but I can always invent more. Yeah, I can invent more wood. So taking the coal and taking basically 1 coal plus something that's free, and then I go from 4 megajoules to 10 megajoules. That's a super good value here. So we're going to use coke for anything that burns. It goes all the way up here to the cerulean facility, and the cerulean has been graced with making power, and that's now feeding into the network. So we have lots and lots of power, 42 of those. The way it also goes, let's look at up here, because the wood is also going to other places as well. Now that's weird why that's a jump there. The wood together with iron and copper is going all the way up here into a rather big facility making green circuits. Also, the recipe for green circuits is slightly different, because it now takes both green circuits, takes both steel and wood, so recipes are different. It's looking good, it's working, it puts it into a box. We can't really get it anywhere useful from here on, because, well, more belts. So what we're kind of starting to see is that this one, we can drag things up there, and then we have the green circuits. Alright, but we need to get that green circuits all the places that need green circuits. Likewise, we also have the same issue with the materials here, and also the materials and the steel here. And this one, the original Larit facility here is actually still making science. That's dedicated to science. And if we look at these lines over here, we can see some of the other things that we have built. And we built over here, Hype has been allocated to build some glass. That's something we don't really need a lot of, but it's needed for us to scale up. Basically, let's take a peek. It goes in, stone comes in, gets crushed into sand. Sand goes in and gets furnaced and becomes glass. So lots and lots of glass going here. Taking a full belt in. This is also consuming a full belt, delivering half a belt. The ratio is 2 to 1, 2 sand to 1 glass, and that gives us tons and tons of glass. And again, it's kind of stuck here, so we can pick it up as we need it, but we don't really know what to do with it afterwards. That's a pretty good summary of where we are at the end of the second stream. No, the first stream of the week, the second stream in total. Let's just go by the week, and I'm going to jump forward to the second stream of the week and see how the base has evolved. And here we are. Now, this is one of the big things. The majority, the most important thing, the most dominant thing is actually this one. We are now taking pretty much everything we're building from all the different locations and bringing it in to this facility. This facility is a hub, and Glirek has been working on making this hub for us, and it's really good. There are some kinks and quirks and stuff here and there, but it gets the job done. And building a Krastorio hub is absolutely horrendously awful, so I'm happy I didn't have to do it, because I would have taken way more time. So we built something, we designed something, and it turns out he had something done already, so we started using that, and it's I'm super happy about it. So thank you very much for helping me get something better. So this has helped us tremendously. That now we can go in and, I mean, just grab the stuff we need. There, let's grab a few more of those. But it does present the majority of the problem that we see now. What I now have is basically 8 lanes going in here, and that's going to be really difficult for us to actually manage going forward. Like, it's only just one lane. This is even a combined lane. It's going to be a big problem, and that's just where I start realizing that this does not scale. It would have scaled okay if these were placed further apart, but I would either have to just not use a lot of these, or because I mean, what am I going to use a small one like this for if it's this close? Well, it's just going to lead to an awful lot of spaghetti. Plus the fact that we're starting to see a rebellion brewing, and that rebellion is all about the lack of sacred path here. Now, this is not the only thing we built in this episode, but it's certainly a big thing and the one that has helped us the most of moving forward. Now, you can see this one is getting stone bricks in, but we did not have stone bricks in the previous episode. So up here, we have a new location right at the border, and that border here is making stone bricks. It's also taking some sand in here. The sand is going in, getting into an electrolysis. Sand plus water gives us somehow chlorine and hydrogen. I put it into boxes. I vent all of the excess chlorine there, and then we take the hydrogen out, because the hydrogen is going to be used for one of the next things. I'm going to lead the hydrogen, follow the hydrogen pipe, follow the hydrogen, and we also, by the way, we can see we have the preview now research, so we can hover over it and we can see that the green science is working, and we can also see there's much more light inside, and we can get liquids in and out. So down here, if only we had a car. It's up there, but it's not safe to drive. It has a tendency to bump into things. I don't think I got a good car this round. Maybe a better one is available at some point, the one that doesn't bump into things. So all the way over here, we're bringing hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. Because one of the things, I should have brought the car. One of the things that's kind of, I don't know, iffy. I don't know what it is. Not super good, I would say, that you can get the automobilism, but you can't get the fuel, because you need specific fuel here in order to drive cars, and that fuel needs hydrogen plus solid fuel. So I'm taking solid fuel in here, adding the hydrogen which built, coming in from this side. Actually, it should turn around. Oh yeah, how irrelevant it is to turn around in an old state game. Going in here. That's currently the only thing we do, because we wanted to make sure that we could get the car up and running. But aside from this, it's just the basic oil processing in here. Getting over here, building a nice stockpile of petroleum gas, and that we can use for later use. Lannis has got a facility at this point, and we have the oil down here. So that's what we've been doing in this episode. So primarily actually getting the cars operational, getting all the stuff into our new hub. Or you could say, if this is downtown, then this is the suburbs. If this is a suburban hellhole, then I think you're justified in calling it a mall. Yes, it's a suburban hellhole. Look at that. Parking lots all over the place, and just streams of crap going in and out of it. Yep, it's a mall. So let's move forward in time and see what happens in the third stream of this week. And here we are at the end of the third stream of the week. We can now see that things have radically changed, and this is absolutely phenomenal. This is a thing that, you know, if you know me, then you know that at some point in the beginning, whatever I decide to have as my design criteria is going to be just messing me up, because some things are just not feasible. And I get really, I'm not going to say frustrated, but I get flustered about how difficult things are to manage. And instead until I find a system that I can use, things will be a bit weird. So what is the system we can use? Well, you can see here we have now established some builds. This build is we've added a new mod. This is the mod that does a little teeny tiny work here. This mod is called Transport Drones. It's one I used in my YouTube Krastorio series about a year ago, or something to that effect. I think about a year ago. And what I've done is now I've started to superimpose the network. The fact is that these power poles, the large power poles in the Krastorio setting, they're actually reaching exactly one chunk. If we look at this, so this means that it's now chunk based, and I can make these here. Now at first we were like, oh, so you're building a sacred path and then building power poles in the middle. And I was like, no, that's not at all what we're doing. We're making roundabouts. Now I lived in year in Milton Keynes, and that's a hellhole in mid-England that is full of, I don't know, maybe 100 roundabouts, and make no sense at all. So this is basically the Factorio version of a city planner's dream. Just nice square blocks with roundabouts everywhere. And that's what we're doing. Roundabouts everywhere. Which looks nice. I mean, it looks really nice. And it works really well. So let me just explain just a bit about how this mod works. It works basically like robots. There we go. However, they are road-based, so they can only work on the road. That means they can only drive on continuous path of asphalt. This is what we see here. Asphalt is stone bricks plus coal. Weirdly, but luckily it's not using oil. What we're having here is a provider chest, so that works exactly like a provider chest. It's just a provider depot. That means it provides it to the network quite a lot, and we get this one. And this one will now slowly go up here. How much does it take? I think it takes 600. And you can see we've only made a few. This blue, well, surprise, surprise, that is a requester. There are currently 2 transport drones. Each transport drone, I think they can take 400 items each. Yes, 400 items each. And when it drops below 800, because they can take 200 each, then 2 transport drones would like to maintain 800 in here. So as soon as it drops below 800, one of those will go out. If it drops below 400, the second one will go out, and they will go out to somewhere in the network connected on the same road pathing. There is a provider with wood, and it's super easy, and it also works for liquids. The one thing though is, you can see here they need some petroleum gas, so you need to establish a fueling plant so that when you stamp down a requester depot, then a train will depart from this location and bring fuel to the requester, and only when the requester is fueled like this will these start leaving. And it works really well, and the way it works exceptionally well is stuff like this. You can see here, now we can sort of make a garage where it just fits really well. It just has a really great feel to it. That we have a large factory here, and these are basically the docking stations. It is, for all respects, a cross-docking facility. Getting stuff in here, in this case, is not cross-docking, it's just producing things. So weirdly enough, it doesn't go in, but here we have cross-docking. Products go in, products go out. Actually, cross-docking would have to be the same, but it could be there could be some value-added service added as a cross-docking scenario. Any case, that's not what we are talking about. So that's my objective now, is that I want to migrate everything to this grid network. Surprise, surprise, he built a grid network again, but it's not the same. It's not city blocks. It's different, and it fits so awesomely with the way these are placed. It was totally not planned, but I was just it actually came out of me trying to build trains, and I just saw that like turning trains, stations, everything was just way too condensed, and there would be no way to sort of get trains into between these locations. It just wouldn't work. So I tried a few things, and then in the end I was like, no, you know what? I started looking and considering this idea. I even let the whole chat decide, so it's not just my decision, it is chat decided this was what we were going to do. So this conversion has been ongoing, as big, and then let's jump forward to the next episode where we have done the conversion fully, and we're starting to research some more new tech. Now this is the current state of affairs in the base. Basically what you can see here is the full base as it is right now, and where we are going to continue in the next stream. And you can see here now we have everywhere. We've tried to do some beautification projects down here, and you know, it's potential, but nanobots can't really place the asphalt, so I have to place something manually. That means eventually we want to have this pattern here where it just reaches out a bit. It looks a bit nicer, more room to go around, but right now it's just gonna have to make do with this until we get something better. You can see everything is now managed with inputs and outputs. What we have done is this one. We have some petroleum and some coal going out. Where am I actually? The only problem is that when I try driving on these paths, I bump into the power poles even more than I normally do. There. So here we have a plastic facility. It's looking good. It's a pretty full, solid build. I mean, it's not using all the space, but it really doesn't need to use all the space. This one, if it's fully operational, then it's producing 8 yellow lanes of plastic. That's more than enough for what we need right now. The only thing we're using it for is going right up here, making the next bit electronic circuits. And why is it not working? Oh, because we don't have silicon. So we built all of this, but it's not even operational. It's also, again, building 8 full lanes. I love these builds where you just use the entirety of the space, And yeah, well, it's not quite there yet because we don't have the silicon. That's one of the next big things we want to build. And let's look at other things we have at this location, because this is the military science. We also built a, you might say this is a bit overbuilt, but military science we don't really need a lot of. We're going to get the biomass getting in here, some coke, some steel, some basic circuits. We don't have that produced anywhere. We have some electronic circuits that we don't have. It's not called electronic, it's electronic components that we don't have. So basically we're saying, all right, in order for us to make military science, then we have to, well, get a few things sorted. So we're missing this one, the basic circuits. What's it called? Basic tech cards. Yeah, basic tech cards and the electronic circuits. For electronic circuits, we need silicon. For silicon, we need a better silicon. Let me just show you. Silicon is here. Silicon comes from quartz, 2:1. Quartz comes from sand with water, and sand comes from stone. So this minuscule amount of stone is not going to cut it, and therefore we started to build this base out here, tapping some more stone. And what we want to do next is probably take one of these locations, maybe a BTOP here, and convert that into a quartz or a silicon location. It's probably one of the next things. So we're going to work on quartz, silicon, electronic components, military science, and from there on we can start working beyond that. We can start getting the science operational again with military science. From there we can go towards red circuits. From red circuits we can then go towards blue science, and then we sort of open up for the mid game. The distribution here is also way more spread out, which is really nice, that we can sort of start figuring out where we want different things and start to utilize the different locations. And just trying to see, like for example, there's a BTOP here. That's probably going to be used for some of the steel processing up here. Who knows? We're also running out of steel, so that iron as well. So that's kind of something we have to deal with before long. So really what we have now is we've established the structure of the base, and I absolutely love it. It feels so good. It's moving around. It's beautiful, and it's making sense to me. And yeah, it's great. And there's lots of factories that we can start working on, which is absolutely phenomenal as well. So thank you everyone who's been supporting, and it's been a fun mini game that people are trying to snipe the name, the hype train in the last seconds so that they can get the building. It's been quite a fun little mini game that I didn't anticipate. Anyway, maybe that will continue on the next stream. Definitely can hope so, and we will definitely continue to expand our base further and further and further. This is a giant mod pack, so even when we build everything, we're going to come back to some of the other ones and some of the first ones, and then just scale them up as well. Now, time for us to wrap up. Let me remind you that this is my Twitch Let's Play. It's running Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sunday at Twitch TV. This is, well, Twitch TV/Nilaus. You're very welcome to drop by, 8 p.m. Central European Time. And the VODs, if you want to catch those, they are on my secondary channel. There is a link in the description of this video to both to the Twitch and also to the VODs channel, the VODs playlist. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. And I hope to see you either on this channel or the other channel or on Twitch or the Discord. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care and stay effective.